Hello and welcome back to the Rad Nauseam YouTube channel. My name's Nathan and today I'm joined by Cull. How's it going?
Good evening, Nathan. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm well. I'm excited to bring you another game from this week's games at POG. Today we've got Storm versus Atraxa Walks. But before we kick off, we would really appreciate it if you would hit the like and subscribe buttons so that we continue to grow the channel and bring you more content. If you'd like to see any of the deck lists from today's gameplay, check out the video description. Without further ado, let's take it away. Here we have it. Atraxa Walks versus Storm. My opponent is Richard. I am playing on the right. Looks like I am on a mull to 5.
Yeah, we got a Failure, Ponder, Brainstorm, a Surveil, and a Fetch in your hand. It
Trying to
looks like
decide on.
Richard's got a bit of a stronger 7 over here. He's got a Fetch, a Land, a Thoughtseize, EI, Thunder Trap Trainer, and a Serum Visions.
Yeah, he's got a lot more gas, and he's also on the play, which is definitely not where you want to be in my situation.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Storm on the play is probably a bit preferred.
And
Especially on a Multi 5, getting Thoughtseize, so you're on a Multi 4 here.
and I've elected to keep a Brainstorm, a Ponder, an Unearth, and 2 lands. Not a target-rich environment for this Thoughtseize. A bit of a decision to be made as to whether or not you take the Ponder or the Brainstorm there, and he's elected to take the Brainstorm and leave me with a Ponder.
So last minute there, you put the Failure on the bottom there. Was it to get the Unearth back instead?
Yeah, think there's just maybe a little bit more of a, I guess if a creature does die, I have a bit more of a game plan.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure exactly what's going through my head to keep an Unearth over a Failure, maybe for the cycle, but yeah, I've elected to do this, and I'm gonna stand by my decision.
Yeah, I mean, the flaw being a cycle isn't the worst thing, you know?
Yeah, and maybe there's some synergy I can do with like a Surveil land, potentially in the future. Felia doesn't really have any targets to flicker. It's just kind of
Yeah.
gonna be a bear
2 power
with a
dog, yeah.
flash.
The healthy Chop Ponder here.
Yeah, I'm
Just
deciding
keeping
to
some
keep.
lands.
Yeah, so I keep the fetch land, and
If you're playing my deck, you're gonna be playing all these lands, man. You're gonna find some action spells here. What are you doing?
yeah, looking for action against the storm deck, and not really finding any. This Malta 5 is kind of looking like I'm gonna be dead shortly.
Yeah. The Thunder Trap Trainer on turn 2 is one of the scariest, but also least scary things a Storm player could do. I mean, picking up
Yes,
Brainstorm isn't the worst.
yeah, setting himself up for future turns, knowing that I'm not really putting any pressure on. He's seen most of my hand, and it's what he doesn't know though is that I have, I believe, drawn an endurance.
That is one of the better cards to be drawn here against Storm, I guess. Hoping for some sort of Yorgwill cutoff line on your end.
Yeah, if I can't kill him, then hopefully I'll be able to at least not to die. So playing land go, my opponent doing all of the decision making, taking all of the game actions.
Yeah,
Not
hitting you with an
where I
order.
want to be. Yeah, getting in for that point of damage.
I mean, every auto hit takes off a storm count, but that's a scary card to see, I guess, off the EI.
Yeah, just revealing the Black Lotus, and looks like he's playing it.
Yeah.
So storm count is currently 2, but
EI into Lotus.
looks like he's passing the turn, and not exactly sure where I'm gonna go from here, but
We could see you cycle this on Earth. Yeah, it might come up.
I
2
think
mana
that's what
draw
I'm.
card.
I think that's what I'm doing here is putting an untapped land into play. So perhaps planning to cycle this on Earth.
Making sure to get the green on field here for the endurance that you
Drawing
apparently
for that.
drew.
Now, I have drawn the green card required for endurance and have elected to play a surveil land, keeping whatever it was that I saw on top.
The Otter single-handedly reducing the storm required for tendrils down to 8 now from 10. Just putting in all the work.
Yeah, it's always an interesting game when you take no actions against the Storm player. But yeah, so I think the kind of cards that I'm looking to draw off the top of my library, obviously Time Walk being one of
I
the
hear that
things that
card's
can
good, actually, yeah.
get me perhaps a bit of tempo back. But looks like I'm just gonna sort of bide my time and see what I can make.
I suppose right now, after seeing the Lotus, you're kind of getting a bit more in the red zones, so trying to hold up this endurance more than anything, and hold up at least mana to threaten that you've got something else at the moment. It's probably a bit important here.
Yeah. Every game action that Richard takes that isn't kill you is every game action that I'm happy to see. So Baleful Strix coming down here, continuing to look at more cards.
I suppose that's true on one end, but also the longer the game goes for Storm, where you're not pressuring them, they're also as happy as can be, setting up the perfect Storm turn. He's got 4 lands in play.
And it looks
It's
like I
very
have
rare you see
drawn
a
a
Storm
Time
pilot
Walk.
with 4 lands.
And here I'm throwing out a off the top Metamorphosis Fanatic.
Wow, that's a
No
miracle.
targets though. It is a miracle, and it will help me get a little bit further away from the tendrils, like you were saying. And Time Walk being fired off just to get a little bit of extra time.
Yeah, is that an E-Witness drawn as well now?
It is. All of the green cards.
Yeah, some good cards to go with this Time Walk as well.
Yeah. This is the kind of situation where if I had drawn a land there, would have been nice, but obviously would not have been able to play the E-Wit and the Time Walk in the same turn, or the Timeless Witness and the Time Walk in the same turn. So we're just gonna take it as we go. Going to play my Eternal Witness here, and I believe looks very tempting to just pick up a Ponder instead of a Time Walk here.
I don't hate that with the endurance in hand. You still have that kind of one piece against Storm that you're holding on to, but he doesn't really know about it. It's Ponder seeing a few cards put together you don't want to see put.
The Metamorphosis Fanatic already in the graveyard, and an uncastable Atraxa. It's not exactly the most exciting collection of cards off the top of my library, but
Might be the famous Ponder seeing 4 cards here. Keeping it.
I am. And this Worldly Tutor is going to have to do a lot of work.
You are getting close to the threshold here of pulling off your combo, which is always a good spot to be against Storm, where obviously the longer the game goes for them and you're not pressuring them, they're happy to sit back and wait and prepare. But if you're also got a late game combo like the Walks package, you can kind of put them on a clock at a certain point too. If they don't kill you or do something, you're also going to be swinging for the game.
Yeah, it looks like Richard's getting ready to start counting Storm. And one thing that we didn't mention just before was there was a Surveil trigger that put a Cabal ritual into the graveyard. So I think my spider senses are tingling that there is a Yawgmoth potentially on the way. And looking at Richard's hand here, you can see there is a Tendrils in there.
Yeah, so just brainstorming currently. Doomsday +1 going back on top. As soon as you see the counters come out, the Storm trackers, it's when stuff starts to get a bit scary.
Me just putting my hand down on my table, letting Richard know that he can do whatever he wants, and yeah, there is the Yawgmoth Yawgmoth's Will in hand.
Yeah.
Looks like,
Apparently, yeah.
by all measures, I am dead. But little does he know. So let's see what he's going to beseech for here.
This is beseech with no bargain. Is that correct?
With no bargain. Just gonna pull out a Rain of Filth. So, just make sure that he has enough mana to do everything that he wants to do. And also set himself up for winning this turn.
4 more dark energy hitting the table here.
I'm salivating after he's just sacked all of his lands, and I am pitch casting an Endurance.
Yeah. Helping the Storm count up a little bit higher. You are adding to his count here.
Adding to the Storm count and electing to target him.
Great choice on the target there, I gotta say.
Just deciding what to do. He's going to shuffle his graveyard into the bottom of his library. Put Yawgmoth's Will into exile.
Storm count is 6 currently. What's Tendrils and a Veil in hand?
Pass this
is opting to.
There are lots.
14 lots to be exact.
Yeah. He's going to gain a whole bunch of life. Endurance is going to die, and we're going to see if I can assemble something before Richard rebuilds. With 1 card in hand and no lands, though, it's going to be a...
No lands is a bit rough. Tendrils in exile. Got Lotus on the bottom of the deck. No shuffles in hand. It's where it starts to get a bit interesting.
Do only have a short window here, but...
Otter is trying to go coast to coast.
Casting a Worldly Tutor here, probably just going to get a Spell Seeker.
Yes, the Walk's favorite 6-point on the package, the Spell Seeker.
And Richard's just going to pack it in there.
Yeah, Spell Seeker is just such a lethal threat. What is that, a 3-mana 1/1? It just, putting him on a 30-turn clock from where he was sitting, it's just too much to handle.
It is. And we're going to go to game 2 here. Sideboard's completed. It's interesting. The sideboard plan for Storm is actually pretty much just take the 15 cards that are in your sideboard and put them in the deck.
Which cards are most notable for the ones you really want to be seeing in a game 2, or I guess game 3 sometimes against Storm?
Right now, Collector Roof. Seeing this turn 1 Tezzeret into Mana Vault, that is incredibly terrifying.
Yeah,
or Mana
Tezzeret's
Vault
been very sweet to play.
Mana Vault. Into tutor your library for an artifact. It's just gonna be a quick clock is being threatened by Richard, and here I am with my delighted halfling.
Yes. Unfortunately, that will take at least 4 turns to kill the Tezzeret here, so he's got to act quick now, or else Tezzeret is in danger. Getting the Trop, I think we saw a Time Walk in your hand.
Yeah, and an Eternal Witness, so threatening a few extra turns, but this is a 1-land hand with a land cycling creature, so gonna have to hope to draw a land off the top here and smooth out my draws, but still able to make our land drops at least for the next turn.
Yeah, you're keeping your hand nice and hidden from him. Trying to make him think that the endurance could be there. The big scary green creature could always be there, and he noticed.
Always have it. Basically, is what's required when you're playing against Storm.
Yeah. Resolving this brainstorm here. 2 cards back on the top.
It's
and Tezzeret is the search, the shuffler.
Yeah, it's an interesting match. The Walks versus Storm. It's quite a tough matchup. There's a lot of ways that you can die very quickly. So the kind of hands that you want to keep are ones that you can assemble the Time Walk combo quickly. So having two of the three pieces here, the last being Ephemerate, is very important. Or having a very disruptive game plan, like with your Collector Roofs, your Mindbreak Traps, Endurances, Lavinias. Just you want to basically be able to stop him on as many axes as possible or go off faster, which is not always possible to do in game one. In game two, the Storm deck does get a lot slower.
Yeah.
So it's always an interesting sort of balance that you sort of have to have when you're approaching this sort of gameplay.
Yeah, the Storm decks are usually bringing in some sort of removal for like an anticipation of your hay pieces, any sort of deafening silence or Lavinias and whatnot. They bring in the abrupt decays and whatever else to remove them. But yeah, you've chosen to go for the combo sort of hand here, rather than like sort of some sort of Thoughtseize hand. Just to kind of
Yeah,
threaten one
actually,
axis.
I've actually found that the like Inquisition hands, the Thoughtseize hands, they're nice to have, but they don't actually really get sort of more like a speed bump than an actual game plan. If you keep a hand that's basically like two Thoughtseize equivalent cards, I find that the Storm deck's pretty resilient against those kind of things. You need to have like a sticky piece to take tempo.
Yeah.
Whereas like unless you can like snipe a Yawgmoth's Will or a Tinker or something, if their hand is just like 4 cantrips and some ramp, you're kind of like, well, what do I even take here?
Yeah, I think if they've like kept a hand with something like a abrupt decay or into the Floodmore or something, you're able to Thoughtseize that and then drop your Ooth on turn 2 or something, or Deafening Silence on turn 2 after it. Kind of clear the way for your hate piece. It's nice.
Yeah,
But if you're just like
exactly.
Thoughtseize in turn 1, taking a Ponder, and then your Inkfish in turn 2, and take another cantrip, they're like, sweet, I'll just draw Tinker, you're dead, kind of thing.
Exactly, and those kind of games, you feel like you've kept the correct hand with your two like hand attack spells, but actually you've locked yourself into going 1 for 1 with a cantrip and then losing the game. So
Yeah.
having a game plan centered around the Time Walk is something that obviously I've tried to do here, but looks like it's a little bit clunky. I haven't hit my land drops to put my Bale Merc into play. I'm having to cast my Ponder here to try and find my next land.
Yeah, stumbling on mana isn't a great feeling when you kind of have the two pieces you are looking for the third, but you can't really kind of get these spells down to dig.
Yeah, and I'm
But
electing
I mean,
to take a land here instead of the Force of Negation, and I'm electing to put a land on top as well, knowing that next turn I can cast maybe an Eternal Witness and get back my Time Walk and take an extra turn, and then I'll have the Force of Negation up.
yeah, I
Right
think
now,
you have
I'm
an
not really.
Eldami's Call in hand as well. Is that what that is?
Yeah, yeah. So
So holding up the white green for that as well.
yeah,
It's
so
not
I
bad.
have access to an Endurance here at instant speed if necessary.
Comes to EI again. Everyone's favorite EI before land drop.
Yeah, and Richard always hits gas off these ones, so wouldn't be surprised to see if if I'm dead off the back of this EI. Richard going in the tank here, sort of deciding, I guess, if there's something to be done this turn in terms of threatening a win, or if he just wants to go for some value.
Yeah, I mean Storm's built to just kind of foot the floor game one, just make them have it. If they've got a way to go off, they're going to go off and make you have the answer. But games 2 and 3 with the sideboard, they're always trying to make sure there's an opening first before going for it. Especially when you lose game 1 on Storm, which is a rare occurrence these days. But you want to make sure that coast is clear with the Thoughtseize, or have the Veil, or have some sort of protection up before you just jam. So these EI decisions become even harder and harder.
Yeah, and Richard, very notably a thinker and a knower of lines for this deck, so wouldn't be surprised to see these sort of decisions eke out more wins than your average Storm pilot. But he was notably in our sort of post-game conversation after game one, the main deck endurance, he definitely sobered up a bit and started playing a lot tighter. He was very frustrated with himself for not playing around that angle. But obviously, you have to kind of have that attitude if you want to consistently win these sort of weekly events and monthly events. I think Richard's currently #1 standings in the POG monthly qualifier. So he's obviously very good at this game and is consistently putting in work. So Doomsday
Here we
is
see a
on the
Doomsday with
stack.
a
And
great. We have our Black
notably,
Lotus engraved, second Black Lotus on field, and a Ponder in exile.
yeah, that Black Lotus on the field definitely costs a lot less points than the other one. It's an interesting, just a little bit of trivia for you guys there. That is an unpointed Black Lotus.
Yeah, and in some forms has bigger upsides than Black Lotus in certain decks as well.
Yeah, and Richard here resolving a Doomsday, and me thinking to myself, wow, my endurance really going to do a lot to a Doomsday pile.
Had you have thought of Doomsdaying, of casting its endurance while the Doomsday's on the stack to get rid of that Lotus, or were you?
Well, I think he can just search his library for it anyway, no? I just don't get to see it
You know what? No, you might
revealed.
be able to do that. Yeah. You're
Yeah,
I don't play these green creatures, man. Endurance is in my sideboard. I never bring it in.
If Endurance said exile their graveyard, it'd be kind of interesting. But I
Yeah.
kind of like the Endurance being able to shuffle away like my own graveyard and protect it, which obviously is not going to be super useful here. But maybe if I could choose what text it had whenever I needed it to have one or the other, yeah, sure, it'd be great. But no,
Yeah, I think making custom cards for your own deck is probably going to have some sort of upside.
definitely. But no, Endurance being the only card I can reasonably tutor here is not really going to do it. Maybe if I had another white card and I could tutor up a Solitude, perhaps I would live against the Tendrils coming, but I'm pretty sure he gets Exactsies with the Storm count, so I would need to go to 21. But
Resolving this Doomsday perfectly as well by making sure these cards that are were in the graveyard are revealed.
If I did have a white card, could I have Solituded itself? The Solitude, they exile itself to gain 3 life? Anyway, it's looking like I am definitively dead here. It definitely can target itself.
It is up to one other target creature.
Yes, okay. Alright, so yes, Solitude would not have saved me. So here I'm going to fire off my Eladamri's Cull. I remember Richard notably sussing out that I maybe had access to a Eladamri's Cull for the Endurance here, so the line that he's playing, obviously playing around that.
Yep.
But yeah, me revealing
for a force negation.
revealing the force of negation that I'd pondered on top of my library instead of keeping in my hand that potentially could have saved my life that game. But these are the kind of decisions that you live and die on in these kind of very close games against really good players and really good decks.
Yeah, I've been hearing rumors about the Storm deck being a really good deck. I'm pretty sure it's one of the current public points discussion favorites to wander those streets.
Yeah, it's definitely a deck where if you mention to a Storm pilot that it potentially could do with some extra points, they will fist fight you. So if you're looking to get in a fist fight, just go up to your local Storm pilot and tell them that you think LED deserves a point.
I wouldn't be touching LED. There's a few other targets in line before I'd be touching that one.
But yeah, so seeing the collector roof on top there is very exciting for me as as my opponent plays and activates an artifact, and I reveal the collector roof to him.
Was this game scripted or was this just off the dome?
This is just off the top, but seeing a endurance, a Court of Calling, natural order, and some lands with a collector roof coming up, my opponent is going to have a few decisions to make and a few hoops to jump through before he's going to be able to close this one out.
And well done on your part, making sure to put the important cards in the middle of the playmat and then the forbidden lands into the glare zone down the bottom there.
Here I'm going to play my fetch, crack it, get this oof. The oof entered the battlefield from the top of my library. Fetching up
it's a neat trick you can do once you've cast a card like Ponder. You can just start playing cards from the top sometimes.
Yeah, it's always exciting to put one of the silver bullets in your deck onto the battlefield and sort of turn off a bunch of, I guess, the game decisions that your opponent's going to look to try and execute.
Yeah, so this is different to the game 2 plan, where now you're looking for these silver bullets instead to, like, you kept a hand with Cord to find one, you've got the oof off the Ponder, you're trying to just make sure it's stopping his tracks, instead of going for the Walks combo.
Yeah, notably, my current silver bullet plan doesn't really stop a Bolus's Citadel line, unless they start going off with the Sensei's Divining Top, which most of the time isn't even necessary.
I don't believe Richard is on the Divining Top at the moment.
Oh,
I could be incorrect. I think it's 4 points Lotus, 1 point Saga, 1 point Mana-Vault, and 1 point Tinker to make up our 7 here. So that flex slot is going towards Urza Saga, which you can see on field here. Because these robots can sometimes just get nice and big and start knocking on your door, put some pressure on you to interact with creatures you wouldn't be having much removal for in games 2 and 3. But the Divine Top's usually in there to make the Citadel lines a bit happier. So it's kind of just two different choices on the 7th point there. But he's opted for the Saga, at least for this game, this weekly.
Yeah, it's always, I guess it kind of feels like unnecessary, the Sensei's Divining Top. The Citadel usually just finds enough cantrips, land drop. It's usually easy enough to find your Doomsday or your Tinker and just being a...
Yeah, I've been playing a bit of Lotusless Storm.
how's that been working out for you?
It's been proven very consistent. Obviously losing the 4 points from Lotus, you gotta spend it on a few other things. So I've got the Divine Top, I've got a DT in there, and Divine Top and Fast Bond in the deck have both been proven very well, just making this Citadel boogie, make it put some cards out in the field. I've got a personal tutor for the Tinker as well, so it's kind of more in on the Citadel combo than just kind of putting this Storm to 10 from hand. But I think in a deck like Richard's with the Lotus and with all these Ren's Resolve type impulse cards, you don't need the Divine Top as much.
Yeah, fair enough. We're seeing a stock up here from Richard. Going to discard to hand size.
Stock up too many cards. Yeah. I'm sure it's enjoyable looking across at your Storm opponent and they're discarding the hand size because it's got too many cards. Usually you're looking for them to have the opposite.
Drawn a Carpet of Flowers for turn. I think the decision here is whether or not to cast it. Notably, it doesn't make mana on my opponent's turn, so perhaps this attack is very questionable from me. So I have a Court of Calling, which is threatening a Lavinia into play if I don't attack.
Yeah, so your hand currently is NL, Cord, Endurance, and the 2 unknowns down the bottom there.
Yeah, there's a Carpet of Flowers and something else. But it's kind of an interesting decision to make. Me letting Richard know that it isn't in the graveyard until I've decided whether or not I'm okay with him tutoring. And I am realizing that by attacking with my Collector Roof, I've also turned off my ability to evoke an Endurance and put a opposition agent in play.
So invoking the Endurance to allow you to get that 1 extra pip into the Court of Calling.
Yeah, if I had not have attacked with my Collector Roof, correct. So it's very interesting decisions that sort of have to make as to whether or not you believe you've got that extra turn to really get in there. But I don't need the opposition agent to stop there as a Saga, as I do have a Collector Roof in play. But how long that Collector Roof will remain is a bit of a question for the viewers at home.
Yes, Saga here finding the 4-point special of a Lotus. Obviously, currently it's just doing nothing, but a slick sequence.
And my opponent is going to kill Collector Roof. So me feeling quite protected before, no longer feeling as protected.
They've attempting to get a shot here. And you're giving it the thumbs up. Move is in the bin. Seal of approval. Storm count is 1. We're seeing these energy trackers coming out again. Scariest place to be, but doesn't always lead to pain. Sometimes it's just in case.
But seeing my Endurance is still in my hand, and access to Court of Calling, I'm still threatening to put a 2-drop into play, and Richard has to play around a couple of things.
There's a triple black from the Lotus here. Could be literally anything in this deck. Besides a Ponder, I'm guessing.
Reminding Richard that he has access to 1 colorless mana from his Urza Saga as well.
Just playing the waiting game, waiting to see which scary Storm card pops out of the hand. Looks like there's a few scary ones in there.
Yeah, it's
potentially a Dark Petition on top.
Yeah, I believe it is a Dark Petition.
I don't think it leads to a kill just yet, but it gets very close.
Definitely need a lot more practice against these Storm decks just to get a better understanding of, I guess, the sort of lines that you can walk before you just die. Just the kind of thresholds you have to play at.
Some people find it a bit rough playing against Storm every week, or once every 2 games or something at locals currently, because there's a few pilots at POG. But I think it's one of those decks where you get better and better every time you play against it. You learn more about what lines you can push and where you need to be to stop them.
Yeah, exactly. And Richard is electing to cast a Dark Petition here with Spell Mastery enabled currently.
Yeah, for some reason Spell Mastery on this thing is minimal. Like, it's so easy to have. It's harder to not have Spell Mastery on this thing.
And I think the decision here for me is whether or not I want to deny him access to the 3 black mana from the Spell Mastery, but electing not to put my
Being a nice guy here
to play and just see where Richard wants to take this.
Yeah.
So I think Richard was expecting me to use my Endurance here, and if I lose for not putting it into play, well, at least I have the moral victory of doing the thing that he wasn't expecting.
Yeah. And you can take a loss today, keep him on his toes, and then next time, you can flip it in reverse on him.
Yeah, let him put the Spellmaster in the stack when there are some stakes on the line, and I'll probably still die. But
it's good to have hope, though, right? The Petition looking for any number of juicy treats here in the Storm deck. So you're not scared of a Yorgwill, but something like a Doomsday or a Tinker's.
Getting a Yawgmoth's Will here, obviously, yeah, just gets absolutely hosed by the Endurance, so he knows that. So I think without any way of cracking the Doomsday in hand, potentially getting a Doomsday here isn't super useful. But also in the back of his head, he is probably playing around the Quarter Calling for 2. Potentially there's something in the deck that could be brought out to catch him off guard.
Yeah, the Endurance, as we learned earlier, is not good. Not actually punished by this Endurance in your side. So Doomsday is one of the options here, but I don't believe there's a way to crack the pile in hand currently. So it'll be some sort of pass pile. But you're still, like pass piles, you're pushing yourself into the Endurance zone again. So a lot of options to take, and he's thinking through every single one of them.
Yep. So he's put a card into his hand. Didn't quite catch what that was. But
might be that Tinker on the end there, I think.
Yeah. And here is a Tezzeret.
You're choosing not to Endurance the Lotus back into the deck here of that Tezzeret, which is kind of a nice thing for you to do. But
yeah,
still
I probably should have been a bit more considerate, but I am going to Endurance here in the end step.
He has one card he searched for. He's got a Mana Vault in hand. You're kind of on the scary side of things now.
Top deck Metamorphosis Fanatic puts the Collector Roof straight back into play.
That's a miracle.
It is a miracle. And electing to attack the Tezzeret here instead of holding up the
Quarter
Calling for 2, which would allow me to put a Lavinia into play at instant speed. So considering my opponent's just tutored for a Tinker and has potentially the ability to this Mana Vault into a Bolas's Citadel is having me kick myself right now
so
for
Lavinia turning off the Citadel would have been huge here.
Would have been huge, and the Collector Roof would have held down whatever was coming out from the Tezzeret. So going to have to see if this Bolas's Citadel can get him the win, and see if I can live one more turn.
Yeah, it's a tricky decision to make. You're trying to pressure the Storm, like players' life total for their Citadel. You're trying to pressure their Tezzeret for just the amount of numerous things it does.
And but Doomsday off the top,
it just happens.
Immediately off the Bolas's Citadel is going to say, "You're actually just dead."
Yeah.
Did not have to dig very far to assemble a win there, which...
He's just going to explain to you that he has a 60 card deck here, and he just has about 60 options to kill you with it. You're trying to count to 4.
Put 5 free cards into his library, cast them all, and then cast this Tendrils for exactsies off the top.
Alternatively, he can cast the Yorgwill halfway through. He can do anything he wants to do at this point. But he's just showing you that he's got 60 cards sleeved up, ready to go.
It's unfortunate.
And you're untapping your Endurance.
Yeah, I'm telling him the classic, if I wasn't bad at the game, I would be able to win here, but instead I elect to lose. So
If I hadn't lost, I would have won.
exactly, the classic. Thank you everyone for joining us here on the Rad Nauseam YouTube channel for some more gameplay. If you haven't already hit the like and subscribe buttons, please do so, and we'll see you next time.
See yous.
Cut the C's at the end. It's like the ad lib. You should do some proper lag ad libs. Thank you for joining us here on the Rad Nauseam YouTube channel. YouTube channel for some more gameplay.
Bless up.
All of this is going in. I don't care what you guys are talking about. All of this is in the video. Okay.
If you haven't already hit the like and subscribe button, skirt.
Oh shit, okay, I'm cutting it.